The topic that brings us here is deadly serious. The rise of hate and violence facing the 2S LGBTQI+ communities, including the drag artists, happening across Ontario and right in the nation has been alarming. There's been a dramatic spike in violence and discrimination targeting the 2S LGBT community, a rise of over 60% between 2019 and 2021, all recorded by Statistics Canada. This information is also affirmed in anecdotal conversations I've had with so many people from Toronto to Thunder Bay. Literally everywhere in between, we are seeing community members rally, but also they're fearful of what happens next if we don't have protection from the government and law enforcement to take care of them. What we do know is that hate crimes are oftentimes underreported. And even though it is underreported, what I've heard from our drag communities as well as their audiences, it has been alarming. I'm just going to list a few of the cities that we know and municipalities that we are aware of where protests anti-2S LGBT extremists have taken place. They've been targeted in Hamilton, Welland, Fort Erie, Guelph, Kingston, Kitchener, Gravenhurst, Brockville, Peel Region, Elora, Lambton, Sarnia, Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, North Bay, Pembroke, Pickering, Orillia, Whitby, Dryden, Ottawa, Woodstock, Peterborough, and right here in Ontario's capital, Toronto, the biggest city. For months now, as the 2S LGBT critic, I have been repeatedly asking the Ford Conservatives for their plan on what are they going to do to keep this community safe. I've asked them public questions during question period. I've spoken to the ministers in private, trying to urge them to take real action because we need real action to keep our community safe. Their replies have been consistently vague, unfocused, and ultimately unhelpful. The drag communities are done waiting for this government to take real action in effective ways, and so is the Ontario NDP. This is why this afternoon I'll be introducing a new private members bill, co-sponsored by the other NDP Queer Caucus members, MPPs Terence Kernahan, Lise Bourgeois, and Jill Andrews. We are joined here also with NDP MPP Caucus members Sarah Jama as well as Chris Glover. This new legislation in Ontario is designed to keep the 2S LGBT community safe. Drag artists, their audiences, the business, and the facilities that host those drag performances have been put at risk. And unless we put forward a strategy to protect them, Ontario's social, economic, and cultural richness is under attack. We have to protect that. The proposed legislation does two things, and I will go through them. Firstly, it enables the Attorney General to create a 2S LGBTQI+ community safety zone to prohibit within 100 meters of the property any homophobic, transphobic act of intimidation, threat, offensive threats, offensive remarks, protest, disturbance, and distribution of hate propaganda within the meaning of the criminal code. It also comes with it a penalty of $25,000 if prosecuted successfully. Secondly, the Act creates an Ontario 2S LGBTQI+ Safety Advisory Committee to provide recommendations to the provincial government on how to improve safety for our community and to prevent further hate. We need to be able to have the government publish an annual report and an update on the progress of this work. It is that critically important.
Apart from the glamorous, dazzling, and wacky characters I play on television or in venues around the world, I also deal with the very real struggles of homophobia, hate crimes, and acts of purposeful intent to intimidate and now disqualify who I am as a person and what I do as a job. I contacted Kristyn Wong-Tam's office where I met with them and Marit Stiles to discuss these horrifying bills that are being passed around the United States and how it is rapidly starting to affect our communities right here in our backyards. These threats and intimidation tactics are very real and happening all around us to people we love and care about. Even in recent weeks, I myself have been victim to hate crimes and hate speech. I'm a professional drag queen who loves what I do more than anything in the entire world. Drag is all about spreading love and acceptance and allows people to feel empowered and special. Drag artists and trans people have an inherent right to live freely and authentically in their truth. Everyone wants and deserves to feel safe and valued in their work. That is why these recent acts of organized protests and hate speech need to be halted and condemned immediately. Queer businesses are failing due to these acts of hate. Windows are being smashed, property is being damaged, queer families are being targeted, our ally families are being harassed by these protesters. Queer hate crimes have skyrocketed since recent anti-2S LGBTQIA plus bills have been introduced in the U.S. Drag artists are becoming afraid to go to work. Venues and bars fear protests will occur during drag events, resulting in loss of revenue and unnecessary added costs. Trans people are being told that they need to be eradicated from this world. We are being forced into fear, and we cannot let fear win. We will not let fear win. A world without trans people has never existed. A world without drag has never existed, and it never will. Queer people have always been here amongst us. They are our coworkers, they are our brothers, our sisters, they are our mothers, our fathers, they are our families. Drag is art, drag is culture, drag is educational, drag is creative, drag is comedy, but drag is not a crime.